And I'm joined here in the studio today by Solange Mougin for a look at what's grabbing headlines in the written press. Hi, Solange.
Hi, Molly.
We are going to start off with the French papers that are focusing on the one-year anniversary of Donald Trump.
Yeah, it's actually tomorrow, January 20th. But today, France's Libération has come out with a shocker of a cover. It says Trump 1 year after, and as you can see, it has an image of someone giving the middle finger to Donald Trump. The multi-page spread is about how in the past year, a group of American politicians are essentially saying the F word to Donald Trump. And the left-leaning paper goes into who the new guard is among the Democrats and explains how some of these up-and-comers are actually embracing socialism.
Indeed, we've got Liberation that actually has a bit of a lengthy explainer on socialism in America.
Yeah, it gives the F word to the S word. That's how Libération puts it. The paper explains that for a long time, socialism, or the S word, was taboo in the U.S., and that since the last election, some young politicians and older ones like Bernie Sanders are embracing the idea of socialism, and also which is also gaining traction among as a party and among voters.
Okay, Solange, we're going to move now to the UK, where we've got British papers that are talking quite a bit about the UK Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson and his latest idea.
Yeah, the idea is a giant bridge between our two countries. According to the Daily Telegraph, Boris Johnson floated this idea when Emmanuel Macron and Theresa May were meeting yesterday. But according to the Business Insider, a land bridge across the English Channel is just another of Johnson's many ideas, sort of crazy ideas that can actually be costly. The site says that he has done this before with a plan for a bridge over the Thames, one that didn't pan out, but that did cost taxpayers £37 million. And the site says that although a road link between the two countries could be possible, the bridge would have to be at least 20 miles or 35 kilometers long, and it would be over one of the busiest shipping zones in the world, which makes the idea unlikely and very difficult to engineer.
Let's turn our attention to India now. This is where we've got the government that has successfully tested a long-range ballistic missile.
Yeah, and it isn't just any ballistic missile. It is the Agni 5. Now, Agni in Hindi means fire. And according to the government, it can go over 5,000 kilometers, which means it can reach most of China and China's major cities. Now, the Times of India says that the Agni 5 is designed to carry a 1.5-ton nuclear warhead, and that it's meant to be a credible and strategic deterrent against an expansionist China.
Well, what are we seeing then in terms of reaction from Beijing to this?
Well, I presume they weren't too happy about it. At least the Hong Kong-based daily Asia Times says that China is moving fast ahead with its own missile defenses, and that is essentially because of India. The article says that both countries are doing this as simple deterrents, but that domestically in China, the nuclear India with a ballistic missile capability is a big issue politically. So the government has just decided to bolster its own defenses to reassure the Chinese citizens.
Let's move on to some business news now, Solange. We've got Amazon that's come out with its short list of 20 cities that it's considering for its second headquarters after Seattle.
Yeah, the Chicago Tribune is ecstatic that Chicago is still on the list. And the article goes through the Windy City's chances of actually getting the top spot and the promised 50,000 jobs that Amazon says it will bring to its second headquarters. But there is a but. An article in The Atlantic says that cities should be a little bit wary about what Amazon is promising. The magazine says that Amazon is doing what is now standard fare among companies, and that nowadays cities could actually lose out because the millions of added dollars and jobs, sometimes they don't actually materialize.
All right, well, now to a story, or rather a company that's not likely to be the next Amazon, but it's a little startup here in France that's getting a lot of press. This is because of its kindness to chickens.
Yeah, and they're not just any kind of chickens, they're old chickens. The French startup is called Poolhouse, and it has created a retirement home for elderly hens that were slated for the slaughterhouse. Now, farms don't want these hens anymore because they've passed their prime egg-laying years at 18 months. So Poolhouse takes them and lets them roam. And it's basically a profitable endeavor because many hens continue to lay eggs up until like around 6 years. So the project has received crowdfunding support online, a lot of good press, not only in France, but also in Italy and England.
Gosh,
That's
past your
fun.
prime at 18 months. That's
Yes.
a bit harsh. Okay. Finally, some happy news. This from 10,000 Feet Up. Tell us.
Yeah, this is a story that is in papers across the globe today. As it is here in the Chilean Delhi El Mercurio, 2 flight attendants asked Pope Francis for a religious blessing on their civil marriage, and the Pope instead offered to marry them before the church. So the couple are now part of a club of 2 who, at 10,000 feet up, have been married by the Pontiff himself.
Excellent. All right. Solange, thank you very much for that. And for more, you can always head to our website. That's france24.com/inthepress.